Miss Sanam, we are live. The floor is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. My name is Sanam Hussain, and I'm honored to serve as the moderator for today's inspiring and impactful session. Currently, I'm serving as the founder of Yes You Can and associated as Fellow of Community Outreach Initiative, focused on education, empowerment, and leadership development for women. I'm deeply passionate about amplifying the voices of women and creating platforms that allow emerging womanizers. I hope I am audible to everyone who is with me.
Yes, Miss Sanam, we can hear you.
Today's session is centered on a highly relevant topic: women's economic empowerment in relation to climate change. This conversation comes at a critical time as communities, especially women, are not only facing economic challenges but also are the front line of climate change impacts. We believe that economic empowerment is not just about income, but also about resilience, leadership, and sustainability. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker, Ms. Joyce Maro from Tanzania. Ms. Maro is a dedicated economic empowerment specialist with a strong background in agriculture economics and agribusiness. Currently, she is serving as a VSLA coordinator at CARE International. She has over 15 years of experience leading sustainable development and financial inclusion initiatives. She has trained and empowered over 12,000 women, strengthening grassroots servings groups, supporting smallholders, commercialization, and implementing digital financial solutions to enhance opportunities for rural communities. Her deep commitment to community transformation and climate resilience makes her the perfect voice for today's discussion. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Maro. But before we begin, I would like to inform you all that we have a question box available. Please feel free to submit your questions throughout the session. We will address them during the question answer portion towards the end. So, the Ms. Maro, the floor is yours. We welcome you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. As introduced, my name is Joyce Maro. I am from Tanzania. I'm honored to serve as a speaker today with this interesting topic of women economic empowerment in relations to climate change. And I am currently serve as a project coordinator for CARE International Tanzania. CARE is not only based in Tanzania, but it's even in other countries, and its headquarters is in America. So I'm currently support the implementation of the project known as Her Resilience, Our Planet. That's very interesting project, and I'm happy to be part of the team that are implementing that, of which 70% of this project are women. So I will start my speech by saying that we all know climate change. It is a topic now all over the world, not even in my country only, but all over the world. The people are facing the impact of climate change. So in Tanzania too, we are facing the impact of climate change. I know everyone is facing, but women and girls are most affected by the impact of climate change. In Tanzania, almost 70% of women are participating in agricultural activities. So once climate change hits, women are mostly affected, but yet they don't have resource or knowledge or technology to overcome the impact of the climate change. So in this project of Her Resilience, as known as Her Resilience, our planet, help to support women to overcome the impact of the climate change. So I'm currently serve as women economic. So I love the topic of the women economic in relations to climate change. So in Tanzania, as I've said, women participate more in agricultural activities, but yet they don't have resources. So in this project, we help women to get the resources that they might need in order to overcome the impact. Like some women are not allowed to own land, right? Some women are not allowed to make any decisions making regarding the agricultural activity. So we, in our project, we train people, we train our community the importance of women to have access to resource and decisions making. So currently women now have access to land, access to finance, access to technology and leadership roles in the climate policies and also planning. Like in access to finance, women are not allowed to get, most women don't have criteria to get loans from formal financial services like the bank. So as Care International, we train them on the so-called Village Saving and Loan Association, that is VSLOA. So women start to invest their small amount that they get in their saving group, and from there now they can get the loans. But also we link those women with formal financial services provider like the bank so that they can get loans, they can get money to buy this technology that will help them to practice the agriculture, which is smart. But also in this project, we also train community the way we can end these social norms and resilience. You know, there's other social norms all over the world that hinder women economic participations in the strengthened community. So we train community to see also women have the capacity to participate in a leadership positions, or to have the capacity of technology, or have the capacity of own land. So we end these social norms. So we also have the program of women-led climate solution, whereby women are showcasing example of women driving innovation and sustainable practices in agriculture, energy, and natural resource management. Also, gendered impact of climate change. We first understand how climate-related risk disappropriately affect women, especially in rural and low-income community. So we also have the digital and technical skills that will help the community to overcome the impact of climate change. Like currently we have the early warning system and data literacy. This is in the rural area. I'm not speaking in the urban area. I'm speaking about the rural area whereby most women are forgotten there. So we have early warning system and data literacy. So we train them in the understanding and use climate data, satellite imagery, and digital alerts to prepare for extreme weather and natural resource. So these are one of the technology, but we train more women because, as I have said, most women they are not aware of the technology. So we install the early warning and train women on how to use those technology to prepare for extreme weather and natural resources. But we train also women on climate smart technology, like we promote the use of our mobile app, smart farming tools, and the renewable energy system to improve productivity and reduce also the environmental impact. Like we need to reduce the time that women spend in the farming activities. As we both know, women need to spend in the agricultural activity to take care of the family and everything. So we look like how can we reduce the time that women can spend in the farming activity. Like if like train them on how to use these time efficient technologies like the tractor and so can you hear me? We
Yes, miss, we
also
can hear you.
train them on the access and inclusion, like ensuring that marginalized group, particularly women and youth, have access to digital tools and training to bridge the digital or device. So on apart from digital and technical skills, you also have sustainable practices. On the sustainable practices, developing a practical skills in sustainable is essential for climate resilience. This include equipping individual and communities with knowledge and tools to reduce environmental impact while maintaining productivity and well-being. So on the sustainable practices specifically focus on water efficient management, like we train people on rainwater harvesting, instead of depend just on rainfall, we can just train them on rainwater harvesting. So even though it's happened that the rain delay, the person can enjoy this rainwater technology. But also the issue for drip irrigations, we train them to ensure access to water in a changing environment. We also train them on renewable energy, like recently we trained them on biobriquette productions, by using local material that anybody in the family or in the community can have access and can make those briquette as an alternative sources of energy instead of depending on fire that also affect the environment. We also train the climate smart agriculture, like crop diversifications, like soil conservation, and so apart from sustainable practices, other practices include. I would also like to speak more. The discussion focus also on the job security in unpredictable time. How can we be secure in unpredictable time? Like we can we can have the skills development and reskills, prepare worker for transition in job market, especially in agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. So you can have a varieties of skills instead of just depend on one skills. We can train them on agricultural skills, vocation skills, and other skills, so that if one skills fails, they can jump to another skill. So we train them on diversifies skills. We also have the social protection system, strengthen safety nets to support workers displaced or affected by the impact of climate change. We also engage this private sector, encourage business to invest in sustainable practices and workforce resilience. So apart from that, so those are essential skills for resilience during the climate crisis. So we have climate literacy and risk awareness. We train them on risk awareness and the education on the climate. This climate change, most people still don't understand, especially rural women. They don't understand what is climate change. What can I do if it happens? So we have the classes of climate literacy to train them on how they can overcome, and also the risk awareness. But we also train on adaptive problem solving, responding creatively and flexible to involving climate related challenges. But we also have sustainable practices like skills in agriculture, as I've said, water management, digital and technical skills, and also community leadership and collaborations. Thank you so much. Over to you. Unless there's questions, I would be happy to respond. Over to you.
Miss Sanam,
Yes, miss.
please open the question box.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Maro, for your enlightening presentation. Now we will open the floor for questions. If you have any question, you can write down in the chat box and we will answer it as many as possible. Yes, everyone, if you have question, you can ask, please. Ms. Maro, there is a question. How does economic empowerment of women contribute to climate resilience in vulnerable communities? Yes, Ms. Maro. Am I audible to you?
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for very interesting questions like how does economic empowerment of women contribute to climate resilience in a vulnerable community? We have
Yes.
diversified how we do diversify household and community livelihood. When women have access to income, resource, and skills, they can invest in alternative livelihood, reducing dependence on of climate sensitive sector like agriculture. This help household adapt to changing environment condition more flexibility. So when women have access to resource skills, they can invest in alternative livelihood instead of depend. This help to reduce dependence on climate sensitive sector like agriculture, right? So that's why we give them women access to resource, access to finance, so that they can invest on alternative livelihoods instead of depending only on agriculture. But we also enhance adaptive capacity. We train them on how to enhance adaptive capacity. Economically empowered women are more likely to participate in decisions making and community planning. Their involvement ensure that adaptation strategies are inclusive, locally grounded, and responsive to the need of the community member. We also promote sustainable resource management. Women often manage household, water, energy, and food system. Empowering them economically will help to increase their capacity to adapt and promote the climate smart practices such as sustainable farming, efficient energy use, and also water reductions. Improve education and health outcome. Increase household income controlled by women often translate into better nutrition, health, and also education. We have a very good success story in my community. Once we invest in women, women are more likely to invest in their kids' education, in their kids' health, and also in their kids' nutrition, especially for children. This factor build the long-term resilience of improving a community's ability to withstand, recover from climate shock. We also have when the issue of drives innovations and entrepreneurship. With access to credit, training, and market, women can create or scale green business. Green business, like now we encourage the beekeeping business. Those are very good example of the green business and solutions that contribute to environment sustainability and economic business and economic growth. The issue of strengthen social network and solidarity. Economically empowered women often lead or participate in cooperative, saving group, and the community organization, which become the key platform for sharing knowledge, spreading awareness, and the organized collective action during the climate crisis. The good example is when women participate, let's say, in this community saving group. In their saving group, they don't just do saving activity. They also have they also have time to share the experience, spreading awareness, and also organize collective actions. We have a very good example here that women now they're having the collective investment, like they are doing their business together, and they name it as a women business group, which are very good. They do the tree nurseries in my country. They do the beekeeping also. Yes, madam. So in short, when women thrive economically, community become more adaptable, innovative, and capable responding to the needs of climate change.
Great,
Thank
great. Very nice. Like you have given the answer in detail. I think the question of Miss Maria is also covered in this answer. Now there is one more question from Bilal, that what is the impact of digitalization in the field of agriculture other than green energy and green technology?
come again.
What is the impact of digitalization in the field of agriculture other than green energy and green technology? Ji, Miss Maro, am I audible to you?
All right, let me read myself now. I have access to your questions.
Okay.
What is the impact of digitalization in the field of
Yes.
agriculture
Yes.
other than green energy and the green technology? The impact we have positive impact of digitalizing the agriculture. One of the impact is when you digitalize agriculture, this will help to increase productivity and efficiency. Precious agriculture like the GPS guided tractor, we have the tractor, we have drone, we have smart irrigation system, help farmers to use fewer resources like water, fertilizer, pesticide, while increase the yield. So that's one of the positive impact. When you digitalize agriculture, it will help to increase the productivity. Like back in the days in my country, people were using just the manual in the farm activity. They are using manual, but recently they used technology like what we call it tractor. The tractor helped to simplify work. So back in the days, let's say they used 10 hours in the farming activity, but recently they can use 2 hours, they can use 1 hours. The remaining hours they can use to participate in the agricultural activities. But also digitalized agriculture improve access to informations. Like now we need people to have access to informations. That's why we encourage when people use a mobile phone, we don't just want people to use mobile phone. We want a person to use also the mobile app and the platform this platform deliver a real-time weather forecast. Now I have my phone here, but I can just see from my phone, or I can have access. I can read from my phone like about the weather in the upcoming days. So the weather forecast can help me to predict whether I go to the farm to cultivate or not. But through my phone, I have access to market prices. From my phone now, our participant, they have access to market. They know where to sell their produce. They know what's the price. So their mobile app also simplifies work. What about the issue for agronomic advice, especially to farmers, especially in the remote area? Those farmers who are in the remote area, through their phone, they can have uh, access to agronomic advice. Like they face any problem, they can call their extension officer. Their extension officer can help from the remote area. The issue of market access, you have speak already. What about the issue of financial inclusion? Digital platform connect farmers directly to buyers. We know that digital, my phone can connect me to directly to buyers, directly to cooperative marketplace, reduce resilience or intermediate of and improving practices, access to mobile banking, wallet, and credit scoring. Now in our phone, farmers, they can have access to credit through their phone. Even myself, I'm using my phone, I'm using one of the bank. If I have any problem, I can have access to credit just through my phone. What about those farmers or women who are in the interior areas? Through their phone, they can have access to a credit. Uh, What about the youth engagement and employment? Digital agriculture can attract younger generations. Like I'm not so sure if it can apply to other countries, but in my country, we used to know that agricultural activities are for as a youth, they can't participate in agricultural activity. It's a dirty work. So, but digital agriculture currently can attract young generation by modernizing farming and creating a new job. Now, even a young generation, they understand that when we say we go to farm, it's not like I'm going to cultivate manual by using my hands. I can use the technology. So this creates new job. Yes, that's all. Unless
Yes, Ms. Maro, absolutely right. Now we have one more question. Like, what opportunities exist for women in climate-related industries such as renewable energy or sustainable infrastructure? Yes, Miss Maro, my question is clear to you. Am I audible?
yes, I was reading one of the how are rural women, the question from Sol, how are rural women supported to ensure their agriculture product reach
Yes.
the marketplace? That's very interesting questions. In fact, it's related to the previous ones. But from my experience, rural women support sure. Well, we support rural women to ensure that they have access to marketplaces by giving them access to market informations. So as I've said, we have our saving group in the rural village. Of course, it's good that I'm working in the rural village. It's not like I'm working in the city. I'm working in the rural village, supporting the vulnerable community, especially women and youth. So we use the mobile platform app, as I've said in the previous. So we have the app in our app. We have the app called the Imazao applications that my organizations connect to the participant, the women that we are saving. Through that app, the women can have access to market. They can have access to agricultural input. What I'm saying is through the app, the women can just in a group they can just request their agricultural input supplier to supply their input in the community, but also about the market they can through the app they are also connected to the buyers, but we use the radio programming and extension services. This radio programming we set in a local language can also help to bridge the information's gap. So we have entered a contract with this radio program so that they can also work in the village and tell them and give them the information. Like currently we have the market, let's say the maize market in which country or in which place, and how much it sells. So in a group, the group or the women can decide whether to sell in their market or wherever. But also we form the cooperative and the women's group. I love this and I think this it's work the most. We have the cooperative of women's group whereby they collect their produce or they collect their product, and once it's reached to the amount that the buyer wants, we connect them direct to the buyer, because it's not relevant like let's say just one person maybe with one bag of maize. We can't connect to the buyer who is far from the community. So women's produce group or cooperative can engage aggregate products, negotiate better prices, reduce transportation. This helps to reduce the transportation cost and also increase the bargaining power. This group also builds solidarity and shared learning, help women scale up production, and they have larger access to market. We also, as a country, we also improve the infrastructure and the transport. We invest more in rural road and the storage. We have some big storage in rural whereby they can store their produce and their product and wait for better price. These transport services help to ensure product don't spoil or can reach market efficiently. We also give the women access to finance and credit, like microloans, group saving. We link to bank, mobile bank solution, empower women to invest in packaging. Now, if you want to sell in a bigger market, you need to make sure that your package is well. So help those women to save women to invest in package, transport, and market fees. We also train women, apart from finance and whatever. We train women in business and market skills. We give them capacity building in post-harvest handling, like also how to add value to their produce instead of sell just the soy or maize produce. You can also sell the soy oil. It's making a good product here in my. So we train them on value addition. We train them on branding, help women to increase their value of their product and also to meet market standard, because if their produce doesn't meet the market standard, it's obviously that they can't be able to sell in the market. So we train them on the business and the market skills. We also support the policies, supportive. We set the policies and gender inclusive market system. The government, our NGOs can promote gender responsive policies to ensure equal access to marketplace. We ensure that also women have equal access to also marketplace. So by supporting rural women to access market is not just about fairness. It's strengthen food system, boost rural economies, and enhance household resilience. Gender sensitive approach are key to making market access to sustainable and equitable. That's all. That's how we do in order to support women to access marketplaces. Unless there is questions.
Yes, Ms. Joyce, you are answering in so detail. So most of the questions are covered. And Ms. Kamina, if you want to ask anything, or should I continue? Yes, Ms. Joyce, there is one more question, that to what extent does gender exclusion distort the effectiveness of climate policy making? And one more, how can empowering women economically enhances the community resilience to climate change, and what policies are more effective in achieving this? Yes. To what extent does gender exclusion distort the effectiveness of climate policy making?
All right. Thank you so much. Maybe I was also reading some. Maybe we are reading some different questions, but I've
Yes.
seen also the questions. Let me respond quickly. Like
Yes.
they ask, what are some of the barriers preventing women from participating in climate policy and decisions making? The questions from Gifty. So we have a lot of barriers. I think I've mentioned there. One of the barriers is limited access to educations and information. Lower literacy and education level among women, particularly in rural areas, reduce their ability to engage in technical climate issue or policy dialogue. Women may lack access to climate data, technology or earlier warning system, limiting their knowledge and the preparedness. So limited access to educations and information is one of the barrier. Also, we have the issue of gender norms, as I've said, and cultural expectation, although we are still working on it. Tradition, we know the traditional roles often restrict women to unpaid work or caregiving work, leaving little time and the freedom to participate in public forum. As I've said, this unpaid domestic or caregiving work, they give women little time. The same women need to participate in public forums, same women need to participate in domestic, same women in economic activities. That's why I said in economic activity, at least now we give the women technology so that they can spend a little time in economic activity and to have another time to participate in other issues. We also have an equal access to resource. This is one of the key barrier, an equal access to resource. Women don't have access to land. In many cultural, women are not allowed to own land. That's one of the barrier. Women don't have access to financial services. That's why we come up with the idea of village saving and loan associations. Women go sometimes to the bank, they don't have the criteria to get loan. This, without economic power, their participation in climate related projects, it's not gonna work. We also have the issue of time poverty, the burden of unpaid care work, collecting, you need to cook, as I've said, collecting water, firewood, caring for children, means women have less time to attending meeting. Those are our other barriers. We also have the issue of safety and the mobility constraints in conflict affected. For those who have an experience in a conflict affected area, women may face mobility restriction or safety concern. This prevents them from traveling to meet or participating in. So by concluding, I would like to say overcoming this barrier require intentions, not only the work of myself or yourself, it's require intention. Inclusive, we need to get the inclusive approaches such as gender codes in climate. Like as I've said, one of these projects that I'm implementing is known as Her Resilience, Our Planet. It's based mostly in the women's, so it's a gender responsive climate agriculture. We also target, we need education leadership program and integrating gender analysis into climate planning. I can say that. Let me read another questions quickly. Can you read it for me?
And that's amazing, Miss Joyce. There is one more question. If you are reading it yourself, or should I read it to you?
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
James.
Questions like they said, what opportunity exists for women in climate
Yes.
related industries such as renewable energy or sustainable sustainable infrastructure. So one of the opportunity that related opportunity exists for women in climate related industry, I can say maybe you already mentioned renewable energy, we have that. Another opportunity is climate smart agriculture. We need the organic farming practices, the agroforestry practices, the permaculture, or the issue of regenerative agriculture. These are the opportunity for women. Access to market through value added produce and eco certifications. I've said previously. Train them to, let's say, to cultivate, and once we have the product, train them on how they can add value to their product. Instead of selling just fresh from the farm, they can just add value from the market. We also have the green technology and innovations. Those are the opportunity for women, like participating in the design, use, or promote of digital tools for climate adaptations. These are the like weather app and early warning system. Women lead climate startup solving local environment challenge. They can also involve other opportunity. They can also involve in recycling, circular economy, and eco-friendly product innovations. The other opportunity I can say, what about the issue of climate finance and the policies like careers in climate project management, gender responsiveness, carbon market. We have the carbon market. It's a very good business here in my country now, the carbon market. So those are the opportunity once women invest in carbon markets. they can make it. What about the issue of green entrepreneurship? That's what now we promote, the green entrepreneurship, like organic cosmetics, eco textile, or plant-based packaging, or waste collections, or compost, or energy, or the beekeeping, or the tree nurseries. Those are very good opportunities for women. So what about the education, advocacy, and community leadership, leading community awareness program on climate actions, disaster preparedness? Those can be a very good opportunity for you. I see there's another interesting questions, like how can a local community support women in leading climate change actions? That's very interesting questions. The local community itself can support women in various ways. Like local communities need to promote equal access to resource. I've speak that a lot. So it's not just myself, local community, let's promote the equal access to everyone, have the right to enjoy the available resource. Like when it comes to the issue of land, everyone, let's promote, ensure women have equal right to land, equal right to water, and equal right to agricultural input. Support women's access to local markets. Let's support women access to local market, financial services, give women access to financial services and technology, facilitate the inclusion of resource management like the water use group, forestry, cooperative. We can also support women's educations and skills. Local community can also support women's educations and skills development, encourage educations on climate agriculture related field. Let's encourage those. Encourage community-based training in leadership, entrepreneurship. Let's local community encourage. Local community can also partner with local institution or these international and government organizations to offer vocational and life skills training. We also, local community, need to challenge these harmful gender norms and the stereotype. You know, these harmful gender norms and the stereotype, they are, we all, the community itself, know that they exist. We need to come together to join our hands to challenge these harmful gender norms. Like you, how can you do that? We can conduct community dialogue to raise the awareness about gender equality. We have, like in our project, we have like twice in a month this community community dialogue, and it's really work a lot, whereby we discuss about the issue of gender equality, the women's right. We also train our men's about, if we empower women's, how can the community benefit, and at least now they understand, oh, like, whoa, that's nice. So let's have that. Engage. We also engage men and boys as allies in promoting shared responsibility and respectfully attitude. Men, let's engage men and boys in promoting this shared responsibility. We can also celebrate women contribution through local events, through, as I've said, through sharing the success story to other community, local event. We celebrate the contribution of women. So from there, the other community can see, like, and they can be like, oh, wow, if we empower women, a lot can happen in our community. So the community also can strengthen women leadership participation, give women a chance to participate in leadership, ensure women are represented in local decisions making. I'm very happy in my country, in high level, we make sure that also women are parts of the leadership. They also participate in decisions making. So we also create safe space for women to organize, build, and build a network, and they advocate for their needs. Other ways that the community can use is provide supportive infrastructure. That's one of the way that local community can use to support women. Provide supportive infrastructure. invest in child care service, safe transport and water and in sanitation, which reduce the burden of unpaid care work. So we have this child care services like one of the projects that we implemented, we encounter the challenge that women come with the kids in that work. So we create the safe space for children so that children can play there and women can participate in other activities. This will reduce the burden of the unpaid care work. So I would like to, we also, the community can also protect the women from violence and discrimination. We can establish or support local mechanism for reporting and addressing gender-based violence. Like in the interior village or in the rural village, we can have the suggestions box in the rural office or in the marketing, so that that is one of the mechanism we can use for reporting and addressing the gender-based violence. Because when we give women chance to report openly, I am sure they want to report. So let's find the mechanism of reporting this gender-based violence. So I would like to conclude by saying when local community actively support women through practices, resources, inclusive attitude, and enabling environment, they unlock a broader benefit for families, not only families, community, economies, and ecosystem. Empower women led to stronger, more resilient community. Thank you so much.
That's amazing. Beautifully and in detail again, it's answered, and many of the questions are covered in one answers. Yes, we have a few more questions, Ms. Maro. If you are comfortable, we can continue. Ms. Joyce, if you are there and
I
you
see
can, yes, you
from
can hear me.
I see the question from admin,
Yes.
like mm,
Yes, Ms. Joyce.
like how can we help ourselves on grassroots level to face this challenge? We are
Mm-hmm.
trying at Women Essential to face this challenge. How can we prepare ourselves on grassroots level to face
Yes,
this challenge? All right,
yes,
thank you. Preparing at the grassroots level to face the climate and gender-related challenge require community-led inclusive. It's really require community-led inclusive and also the sustainable strategies. So maybe I can give you few example of the resilience from the ground. We can raise the awareness, right? Raise the awareness and build the climate literacy. Organize community meeting. We can have the community meeting, workshop, local radio program to educate people on the climate change, on the impact of climate change. Not only the impact of climate change, adaptation and strategies of the climate change. We can include local knowledge and also storytelling to connect the issue to people daily lives, right? So let's raise the awareness and build the climate literacy. We can also strengthen as this local leadership and the women participations. As let's strengthen the local leadership and the women participation. When we encourage equal representation of women and youth in community, committee, disaster response, this ensure resource management and teams. We can also provide leadership, training and safe platform. What about the issue of promote sustainable life skills? Train community. You can train the community, as I've said, water harvesting or clean energy and income diversifications. This will help to overcome this the challenges. Organize for collective actions. I love when we advocate for lots of I think when we use also the local resource soil, water, soil, forest through inclusive planning so that everyone can benefit. With the issue of build early warning, we now need to build the early warning system when the emergency prepare can happen. Like we have the fund for emergency preparedness. Her system was just last month. We use that fund because what if we have the fund and it's just we call it emergency preparedness fund. So it's just last month we help we go to support the people who flee the war from Congo. I see there's my other people from African countries, they might be aware of that, so we support them. So we need to have a fund for that. So resilience at the grassroots level is knowledge, unit, lead, answer your questions. You got the questions? Can you read it for me? Did I respond all?
Not all
Yes,
of them.
Ms.
We
Joyce.
have many
Yes.
questions, I think.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Tamina.
Ms. Joyce said that we have many questions. Yeah, we have a lot.
Yes, we
Sanam, dear
have. We
Sanam, you
have.
can read it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Ms. Joyce, we have so many questions because you are wonderfully answering them in detail. So everybody wants to have the answer of your question. In the era of imperialism, the use of resources in a sustainable way seems impossible. One of the participants is commenting that stronger countries can affect decisions of weaker countries, affecting climate sustainability decisions. How we can deal with that? Yes, Ms. Joyce.
Thank you. Thank you. I see there's a lot. I see the questions from Sharma. She had two questions. Let me respond to what extent does gender exclusions distort the effectiveness of climate policy making? To what extent? Gender exclusions significantly distort the effectiveness of climate change policies. That's why we encourage the gender inclusions, limiting both reach and the impact of climate response. When women and marginalized gender group are left out of decisions making, policies tend to be less inclusive or less informed and less effective at addressing the resilience of the ground. Let me tell you to what extent these exclusions affect their outcome. When you exclude the gender issue, it's obviously that the misallocations of resource will happen. Gender build climate, gender blind climate facing and program may prioritize technologies or solutions that don't reach or benefit women. That's why we need to have the gender inclusive. So sometimes we may have program that may not at all benefit women, such as male-dominated sector or large scale infrastructure. This can reinforce inequalities and widen the resilience gap. Also miss the opportunity for innovations and leadership. Women are often innovators in community-led adaptation, especially in sustainable agriculture, water management. So without their input in designing the project, without their input, police making misses out on practices scalable or solution rooted in local knowledge. What about the failure to meet global goal? So gender exclusions will also will if there's gender exclusions, we may not be able to meet the global goal. International framework like the Paris, you remember the Paris Agreement, so the Sustainable Development Goal 13, climate action, emphasize gender equality. Gender exclusionary approaches risk non-compliance with global commitment and weaken a country credibility. So the exclusion of women, it doesn't just distort policies, it actively undermines the climate resilience. We now set the policy to overcome the climate resilience. So the exclusion will undermine the climate resilience, sustainability and justice, inclusive climate policy making. When we have the inclusive climate policies making, it will help to lead the better adaptation. In the outcome, we'll see the outcome more equitable to access to resource, stronger social cohesions and innovations. Also, wider the community resilience. So climate policies that fail to integrate gender perspective are less responsiveness, my dear, less equitable and less effective. True climate resilience require inclusive governance where women and other marginalized communities are not only beneficiaries but active agents of change. A very good example is one of the projects I implemented on the climate related issue, which is gender responsiveness. We didn't just come up to the idea like let's train women this. We went to the village and asked them what challenge does the women face in the community. They said water issues, um, agricultural technology. So from there we come up with the project or the program that will directly benefit the women. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Joyce, for this inspiring session and wonderful answers. I would like to thank you to our speaker and to everyone who joined us and to this wonderful and insightful session. We will be sharing the trainer or mentor LinkedIn. You can stay connected with her and learn from her. You can learn from her and stay connected with her. I would like to thank you for the discussion and the question answer you people raised, which was relevant to the topic. And let's continue to support our community outreach, women-led solution and empowerment efforts that make a real difference in the world. Until next time, stay connected, stay empowered, and keep leading change. Thank you so much once again, Ms. Joyce. And here I'm sharing the link, LinkedIn link of our trainer, our mentor in the chat box. You can connect with her and you can learn more from her. Thank you again, everyone, to be the part of this wonderful and insightful session. Thank you, Ms. Joyce. Take care. Stay blessed.
Thank you.